Hi everyone, it's AJ. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another AJ's Ranking again. Today I'm going to be ranking the Robocop movies. Okay, so my ranking series. I've decided to push this fortnightly now, Monday every 2 weeks, just because the amount of content that I'm producing as well as working, that sort of thing, it's quite a lot. So every 2 weeks now, AJ's ranking again. So yes, so this episode, I'm going to be taking a look at the Robocop films. The 3 original films and the remake. So the 4 films. This doesn't include the TV movies, Prime Directives, another 4 films. I don't really include them. They're sort of more of a TV aspect of Robocop, not the cinematic film franchise. So, yes. So, let's not waste any time. Let's talk about it. We all know the story of Robocop. But there we go. So, getting straight into it. Number 4. In 4th place, my least favourite Robocop film from 1994 is Robocop 3. Directed by Fred Decker. Yeah, now this film had a troubled production. Orion went into it had some issues, and the film looked like it might not come out for some time. So much so that we even got the game about a year, PlayStation game or whatever it was, Sega. Can't remember the console. Came out about a year before the film itself did, and no one really knew there was a Robocop 3 coming. Now this film deals with a lot of socio-political issues surrounding gentrification and this sort of thing. It's always been an element of Robocop, even in the first one, of corporations building big and this sort of thing. But in this one, it takes it down to the removal of people, lesser well-off people from their homes and displacing them and this sort of thing, and with a private army being brought in to do this, sort of like a private police force. Robocop in turn joins these people to help them in their struggle against what's going on. The film gives Robocop a little girl sidekick. Nancy Allen does return as Officer Lewis, but she's killed at the offset. That was her agreement for coming into the film. Obviously, Peter Weller didn't come back for the role of Robocop in this one, and it notices, the film is pretty bad. It's pretty boring. It takes quite a bit of time for Robocop to come into the fray. There's silly things where the little girl is like a computer genius, and she reprograms an Ed 209 robot to act like a puppy. All this sort of nonsense. It's a really bad film, and then you've got the inclusion of these robotic ninja assassin type individuals at the end. Yeah, the suit didn't even fit on the geezer playing Robocop in this one. He looks uncomfortable in it. His positioning's stupid. It just doesn't work whatsoever. So my least favourite Robocop film. Yes. So, 3rd least favourite, shall we say. Okay, 2014, the Robocop remake by Jose Padilla. Yeah, okay, so this film, remake territory. Again, I don't like going into remake territory, especially when you're doing a remake of a classic, beloved film. Now, where do I start with this one? I enjoyed the story to a degree. I like the fact that they switched around the Robocop, sort of switched it on his head, the story of what happens to him, while he's in the robot form, in that when he's first turned into a robot, his memories are not wiped, he is the person that he is, and this sort of a thing. I enjoyed that element. I thought that was quite clever, and it did work for it. I didn't like the stuff about police in other countries, which America is known to do. Ultimately, the film looks nice, it looks good, it's got a bigger budget, this sort of thing. It is toned down for a kiddie audience, and which ain't a problem, don't get me wrong, that's not an issue. But ultimately the film is just, again, it's quite boring. It's got no real rewatchability to it. yeah, the redesign of Robocop himself, something that's not needed. The design of the original Robocop is fantastic. It stands up today. It looks superb. It's one of those sort of perfect designs that you can't sort of, you don't want to alter. You don't want to see it altered. Yeah, so ultimately, although the film did have a very interesting cast, Joel Kinnaman as Alex Murphy, you know, he was fine, I should say. You had Michael Keaton, you got Samuel Jackson, you got Gary Oldman, three very big heavy hitter actors, fantastic actors, but ultimately the film just failed. It was just an unneeded remake. Okay, second place, 1990 Robocop 2. Now, when they announced Robocop 2, and it was directed by Irving Kershner, who brought us The Empire Strikes Back in the mid-80s, fantastic, you know, the best Star Wars film. Unfortunately, this Robocop film does suffer in that it's overly long, it's badly paced, and all this sort of thing. Now, it's effective for me. I mean, I remember seeing it when it first came out in the 1990s, and there was something about the robot, the Kane robot, that sort of gave me goosebumps. That did have an emotional effect on me in that I found it to be a very scary type of an android robot. Do you know what I mean? So it's yeah, fantastic. But ultimately, it's a very violent film, overly violent. It's very sweary. It's just, you know, it's an okay sequel, shall we say, but it lacks something. Like after the first film, everything lacks. So yeah, so Robocop 2. So in first place, we've got 1987's original Robocop. You knew that was coming. Directed by Paul Verhoeven. Yes, this film, fantastic. What can I say about it? It's a superb film. It is ultra violent, yes, that works for it. It's very digs at society in America at the time, socio-political issues, and that it just digs away at them. Fantastic in a very satirical kind of way. Fantastic film. What can I say? Peter Weller was fantastically cast in the role of Alex Murphy and Robocop. It's got a great support cast. The film looks fantastic. I know some of the effects are dated now, but that doesn't bother me at all. It's just a very, very enjoyable film from a time when Hollywood had ideas, shall we say, when there was originality, and the 80s gave us some wonderful films. Growing up in that time was fantastic. You know, like Predator coming along, Aliens, all that started in the 70s. Robocop, these are massive names that still resonate today amongst audiences. Yeah, fantastic. Now, obviously there's a massive gap between 1990s Robocop and this in second to first place. Everything above this is on a much lesser scale than this first film, and I've been a bit cagey in the things I've had to say in this review, because it's all said in this other video that I've done called Why a Robocop Sequel Never Worked. So go check that out and you'll find out why the sequels were always inferior than the original film. This is AJ. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in 2 weeks for another AJ's Ranking again. Take care all, and goodbye.